Okay. Suppose that's going to happen from time to time. Okie dokie. Let's see what we have here. We've got just a few things to keep up with today. One, probably the biggest thing, we'll keep working on Motor City Rays Peace. We've been making some good progress here on Dreich's Hands. Just want to make sure we're in proper focus. Yeah. I really dig the way these talons are coming together. We've got that nice clean look. I think that'll read really well on a tabletop. We're gonna start saturating this bark a little bit. I have kind of a neutral drab style of brown here, and I'm gonna start sinking in some good red tones. It'll really look nice against this cold purple, I think. I think we'll get a good look out of that, especially with the honeycomb right beside it, that golden color. And so, one of the biggest things here in this carapace, we're gonna have, her body is gonna settle in there, and her spooky looking head. And she's wicked looking. And so to go along with that, we'll have this big hairdress coming out of the top as well. I think I'm gonna need some reference points before I get into that thing. That crown is something special. And off and on today, I sort of want to play around with this. I'm finding it kind of maddening wanting to play around with this blue against this emerald green that I have here. It's I don't know what I want to say. It's kind of crazy how well they work together, if that makes sense. Creates a little bit of an illusion for your eye, at least in person. So let's back out a little bit. Let's start getting some paints together. Everything right here for the talon colors. I just want to make sure. I don't know what kind of life my palette has right now. Not a ton, but I suppose that's what you get for not putting the lid on the wet palette. Using some Citadel colors here. As I go through this process, I find that I'm using this tone much less. You know, when we started with the talons, I was putting down all three in kind of this, not from black to white, but from darker tone to lighter tone. I don't like this one. So we're skipping it. Yeah, so I was putting these down in order, and then I would kind of work my way up. Well, in truth, we were going all the way up to here. Ugh. It's gonna get blown out. Like my face does, because I'm wearing black today. But yes, so I was building these up and then mixing a little pallid witch flesh for the highlights. That's where we're getting this kind of glaring white look. It's not actually white, it's this color. But I'm kind of using this less and less. There's just not too much of a step here, and I'm able to sort of get it just by mixing the darker tone and the lighter tone. So that's one thing that I don't know if it's a good thing or not, but as I work through my process, I don't always have the same, if I'm painting a color and I'm not getting the result I want, I sort of start skipping it. Like it's not making an impact, so why waste your time with it, kind of thing. But I don't know, we might get into this and realize that what we had before was making all the difference in the world, and we'll go right back to it. There's no rules here. You can just do what feels right and make changes as you need to, as long as it's a deliberate skipping of a tone and not, oh, that's why that looks different kind of situation, which happens. Pallid witch flesh is looking a little chunky right now. I don't know what's going on in there. I don't love Citadel paints to begin with. And seeing things like that just bug me a bit. I put paint all over my pop filter. How about that? I'd love to get a look at like painters' equipment. Like there's gotta be paint everywhere. I get on my hands and I grab like the mic. I know I've got thumbprints on it in places. And this isn't even that kind of like artistic medium where I should be getting it everywhere. Bozacious, good morning. Coming in with us, fires. Hope you're doing all right. It's Friday. That's not bad at all. I'm sorry if that was a loud one. I try to minimize my my slurping and gulping and whatnot, but the coffee isn't that negotiable at this time of day. Okay. Wasabi. Well, yesterday we were having quite a bit of brush talk, and so today I'm going to go over again briefly why I use the brushes I use. Typically, I'm doing the bulk of my painting, like to get to this point with this model, I used this paintbrush and my airbrush because it's fast and we're not looking to take a lifetime. So I got a size 6 synthetic, just a beat around brush. I bought it when these are on sale. Buy like a stack of them, get like 10, 11 of them, and I just run them into the ground. When they stop having a good tip for for painting details and such. I turn it into like a wash brush or something for basing or dry brushing, what have you. And then after a while, it becomes just something to grab paint out of a pot with. Its jobs change as it becomes less and less rounded and pointed. Sometimes I'll snip the bristles down and make it a nice something if I'm gonna like jab for a texture. They're good. Like I said, real cheap stuff. This one is actually a nice one. Like these are like $12 a brush. Way nicer than I'm typically recommending. But Utrecht is a company here. I don't know if they're in the UK, but they're definitely here in the States. But the Utrecht brushes, just a house brand. And I don't know if they changed the color or what they were doing, but these things went on sale for like $1.30. I bought a pile of them. They're long handle, so you snip them off, but what does that matter? They were $1.30. I couldn't get enough of them. Jose says, I need those. My size 4s are starting to explode. Yeah, but the thing is, for next to no money, you have something you can, like a daily driver. Beat the brakes off them, put the miles on this. And then when you come in to do your detail work and you have your nice sable brushes, they're ready for you, They're not sitting there needing to be reconditioned. Steven says, sirens in the background. They're coming to get you. Always be on a swivel, Steven. If there's sirens out here, I live in the middle of nowhere, man. But yeah, that's my brush talk. For the few people in here, my buddy that is exceptionally good at video editing, and he knows a ton about cameras when it comes to photography, videography, things like that. Just sent me the rough cut of the Hellboy video. Doesn't have any audio in it just yet, but finally got back to me. He was joking the other day. No, he wasn't joking. He was saying in a joking manner that his computer was continually crashing because of the 4K UHD video. Is it UHD? Some kind of high def. A lot of data. It's about a gigabyte a minute, what we recorded. He cut it together. It's about a half an hour. How to take a resin model out of a box and get it to here. And I chit-chat like we do together when we're in here, like keep it conversational. I'm not trying to like cut it 38 times so somebody that has a short attention span can follow me. We'll keep it a little bit natural. Cover in detail how to get a smooth gradient like this. Pixie, good morning. How are you? Had a funny talk with Pixie yesterday about I don't even know what that P's called. The P that has a stand coming out of the top of it that makes a TH sound. It does look sweet. Maybe they should bring it back. Balzacia says, save those bomb wicks for the details. Exactly. If you've got a bomb wick, if you've got the Broken Toads, if you've got the Series 7s, the Raphaels, the Marion Coes, the Da Vincis, whatever, you do that good work with them. And just like anything else, you can recondition them way better than the synthetics, because I don't think you can condition them really at all, but that way they'll have they'll be there when you need them. This hobby holder is a Rathcore. Rathcore.com doesn't really have much, but it's a German gentleman that makes these, and if you go to pkpro.de, you'll be able to locate these, and you can order them. And they have these little boys, and then there's a whole grip. It comes with a base, the bigger boy. I like the bigger one for certain applications, but these smaller ones, for me, are kind of nice because I don't have to set it in a holder and have a whole lot of pageantry to it. I can just take this, set it down, and it's good to go. The real benefit is I don't just use like 40K models. Some of my models are metal. Like this guy's heavy. He's a hefty boy. And, you know, when it's taller, there's a lot more chance of like fall. So the shorter ones are nice for me. And you can buy them in like a 3-pack. Like I've got... They come in different length of bar, for example, depending on the size of the model you're working with. They're good. That's my plug for Steven's awesome products. He streams sometimes. I don't know if he still does. He used to, which is pretty cool. He's a phenomenal artist. I didn't even say painter, I'm sure. I mean, he engineered that thing. But yeah, the Hellboy video, rough cut, is up. It was in my Dropbox. I don't know if it downloaded or not. Let me see. Look out. You recognize this desk. Talk about all the things. Pinning. Stuff we do in here. Priming. But in a little more detail. Once the audio comes through, I'll be kicking it out to the Patreons, out to Patreon for the patrons, to be able to go through and like give me some feedback and make sure what we're getting is going to line up with your expectations. My brother really wants me to get something like this. He sends me things. It's like, you should be using this. But they're expensive. Alright. Pixie says, ooh, especially for me, I like that. Much love. Alright, let me back up here and catch up here. We got God Janice says, hey man, sorry I missed the beginning of your explanation of the holder. How do you pin them in the base? I'll tell you about that. The green in particular. I've got you. Balzacio says, I use 5-hour energy bottles modified with water bottle screw tops. I am always looking for more. There you go. Sometimes I use a little blue tack on top of a paint pot. This is a lot of blue tack. I don't know why I use this much blue tack. But, you know, sometimes you do that. Here's an Orthober Studio grip. Spot of blue tack. Here's a legit high-end plinth I just decided to tack this model onto. Why'd I do that? Don't know. Did it anyway. You know, you can make just about anything a grip. Throw a drycha on her head. Don't worry about that. But the pinning. So the blue guy here is not pinned at all. The green one, sorry. He's actually just a metal gent with a slot base. I'm going to try to be very careful with him as I punch this cork out. So in the middle of these, you have, it's tapered. I'm sure you can see it's kind of coned. So if this continued, it would come to a point kind of thing, right? And then you have a tapered cork. And so the cork has a slot in it. And the further down you push it, the tighter it gets at the top, cinching it together. And you can see the Bugs Bunny style or Wile E. Coyote style, like, outline where the spatter was on his feet. And, yeah, since he's metal and he's got that old style slot base, when I put it in the cork, I just leave that on there. God, Janice says that's so freaking clever. And so we just slide him in the slot here. He's off-centered because his staff, you know, because of this, his staff's going to clip if we don't put him off to the side. That's all. Ordinarily, we'd have him somewhat centered, but no big deal. So we bring them in, keep them cinched up, slide down. Borak. XJWX. We'll go Borak probably. Good morning, Pneumatic. How's it going? It's going all right. We're talking a little bit about grips, and then I might even do some painting. We'll see. Yeah. Let me slide them down in there. You see the cork's nice and recessed, and he's fairly well on there. It's a little bit of wiggle, but it takes no preparation. With the slot base, just be mindful that he's not sunk in a long ways, and that'll be good. And you can see now the clearance. Again, if we didn't do that, there's no way that would clear. And the benefit to this bar, the brilliance of it, is that I can hold my model like this. Or rest my palm, for example, on this. Just by holding onto the bar, putting my finger on it, it's not going to move. And I'm pushing, right? So I like them a lot for that. Or you just take the thing off. If you need to take it off. And then for Hellboy, I don't know if the music's loud, let me know. For Hellboy, we used some brass or paperclip, whatever. And with something like this, you have quite a bit more bite. You know, that slot base only comes out a very little bit. And this, you can slide down as far as the cork will accept. You know, he's not going anywhere once this is done. And they make special corks for these that you can have your models on a base, and the corks are set to accept square bases, round bases, oval bases, and you buy them based on the size, and they like come up like a hat on top of the base. They'll crown over. That's all. You can check out Stevens products. I'm a big fan. They're expensive. That's their drawback. They cost money, but they're made well. But expensive or not, I still treat them like a tool. I'm not scared to airbrush on them. That's just me. Everybody has different opinions. But anyhow, good morning, everybody. We're here to paint and chat. Let's, today we're working on Dreitz's talons. Here's some progress we've made on this hand. It's a done. It's super shiny looking. And here we're beginning on, this side. So let's punch this in. A little digital zoom action, don't worry about that. We're going to be going for a non-metallic effect. So basically we're so I'm watching the monitor, not my finger. We're going to try and, apologies ahead of time for the COVID hands. I'm scrubbing with all kinds of stringent hand wash. It's no good. So we're trying to build a nice smooth gradient across the talon, keeping all of these shades of purple, and then edge them out. So over here, we've done her little dew claw, her little thummy, and I started hitting the effect across the rest of them. Super rough right now, but I figured rather than go through and do each one in a way that shows you how it's done, maybe I'll do one, and then we'll do the rest of the fingers. That way I can make some good progress. For the regulars, you know I always keep a brush that's wet on hand for when I make mistakes. So that's why we got two brushes here. I'll use it to push the paint around and get things done. Get things corrected, really. Alright, let's see. So here, yeah, up in this area, we've already laid down our base color. And then I came through with our first highlight. And Now we're going to try and find the next highlight. And this color is actually a bit darker, so let's start with adding a little bit to that. A little bit brighter. Pixie, I hope you had a good Thursday. Rest of your Thursday, and Friday's looking all right. I sometimes forget, living where I live, I've had a lot less of my day than many of you have had already. So, for me, it's not even 6 in the morning yet. I woke up to some raw footage for my Hellboy video, which was pretty cool. Okay. So each time here, now that I found the right color, I'm just painting less of the area, so to speak. So you're going to notice that there's a line. So they get this darker color, then you got a brighter color. And now we're going to go a step brighter. We're going to paint even less. Blood Angel Callum, good morning. How are you today? Mix up this tone. Yesterday I had a brighter tone I mixed up, but I didn't cover my wet palette, and I believe it is a little dry. So I'm just going to check and make sure I got a good consistency. All right, we got some good flow to this. Where were we? Yeah, we're painting less. Sorry about tapping the mic. And these look rough. They're gonna look rough. You can go slower and better match each wave of this, but I don't feel like it's necessary here. For a tabletop miniature, we're not going super crazy. Okay? Callum asks how I'm doing. I'm doing all right, Callum. We're talking some paint. We're talking hobby holders. I like that. I like talking hobby stuff. And then one more. This one's got quite a bit of dilution to it, so that's not ideal, but we'll just drop that in and leave it. We'll let that dry. And then we're going to grab a glaze, an immediate kind of glazing action. Just make sure dilution is nice, so you can see where we're at here. Pretty thin. And you can also see on my thumb, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm trying to be less of that. And I'm going to tap on either side of this transition like this, and it's going to deposit the glaze, and it will start to fade that transition. Okay, it's not a crazy thing to see in person. This needs to be done differently, but we'll do the one on the top. We gotta fix the bottom one in a different way. Now that top piece looks like a smooth transition. You can still see a little bit of a line, but we'll let it dry, give it a second coat, and it'll be better. The smoother your transitions, the less work you have to do here. But that's how you do that. Down here, though, we've got to grab a little bit of thick paint. Kind of make our transition here because we definitely missed it. Checking my dilution. That's pretty darn thin. We're gonna need to be better with that. Callum, how have you been? Working on anything fun? Gonna be one of those mornings. Try again. Once more. Alright, now we got it. Okay, and I've done a deliberately spotty job here so we can see all this transition. I'm just going to come in here and we're going to try to fix that. Ragnar, hello, mister. Well, hello to you too. How are things? Try to smooth this out as well. Sometimes stippling in these small areas is the right answer, especially when things are rough like I've got them laid in here. And then the thing that we've lost a bit of is the original base tone. So I'm going to grab some of this dark purple. Oh, Ragnar says doing well. Is this for Warhammer? It is for Games Workshop. This is the Age of Sigmar for them. This is their fantasy line. We have to move over a little bit here. So I'm going to grab, again, this darker tone. You can see where it's got some in the middle. What we're going to do is we're going to come up here just a bit. We're going to add that down the middle. And it's going to allow that fade and transition to go around it, but also keep the contrast. And then we can take our highlight color. Make that, do that kind of magic trick that you can get with the non-metallic effects, where we're just going to take this, and again, this is rough, but it's for gameplay. This is a kind of a quick and dirty way to get a nice, speedy look to things. On the edge of the brush. Don't be in a hurry, but be persistent. That makes sense. Clam Wolf rolling in with the biddies. For some reason, my OBS is not connecting to Streamlabs correctly. The chat isn't even working. So if we don't catch an alert, I apologize. Clam Wolf, how are you today? Coming in hot with the biddies. Thank you so much for those. How was the rest of your Thursday? Saw you getting some sweet art soon. Flame Wolf is fine today. Well, that's good. Trying to draw the world's finest line here. Kind of cheating and using the sculpt to help. Wig Face, good morning. But yeah. Clem says, can't wait to see you finish. Me too. This weekend I'm getting the remaining custom piece for the sword on your piece, and I'm excited to see that come together as well. COVID done threw like a 6-week monkey wrench in my work. Weekface says all the Amazon prices are going back to normal, which is good. Oh, that's nice. I mean, truly, what a mess. Steven says, sorry I've been in a lot of pain the last couple of days. Catch 'em Monday. Steven, I hope you feel better. Enjoy the rest of your morning, sir. Just making sure I don't have too much paint. I'm gonna glob up the talons. Yesterday, like I said, I started like bulk going through and bringing these colors in. Here, I'm mostly confirming that I have the right tones. Yeah, that's a good dark tone. But since we found it, now I know where to go to be brighter. Blood Angel Callum says, ooh, what did I miss? Wigface says, start collecting boxes. We're going over €90. Wow. Well, Games Workshop was closed. That's probably why. Callum says, has anyone got anything from Games Workshop this week? I ordered on the 1st and got my parcel on the 6th, but I haven't got my second one, which I ordered on the 7th. Yeah, I don't order direct, but I know distribution's all jacked up right now. With them especially, because they've been closed down for so long, I'm sure they're inundated with orders. Just picking out these highlights. And again, each time we're painting less and less. But anywhere that would receive a final highlight, I think it makes sense to lay the base work with your previous highlight, highest color. So yeah, it's a little bit of work to edge out these things with this tone, but I think in some ways it helps shape the final effect. This is way too much paint. Just almost ready not to check it on my thumb. I'm gonna make a big old mistake. There's something nice to clean up later, huh? see about coming into here. Tail end of this cleaned up. From the other side, maybe. Yeah, this side needs a lot of work. And we're just... I don't know how brush got so damp, but get it fixed. Clanwolf says, I don't need anything from Games Workshop currently. I need stuff from the FW, though. That's the Forge World, Clanwolf, we're talking about. What are you looking to get there? Something sweet, I hope. I think it's important to note how rough things like this look until they start to come together. A lot of people only ever show their final work and how nice it is. It's like, man, that thing looked rough a long time until they started doing the refining work. Granted, you can be a lot cleaner than I'm being, and it will make the cleanup a lot easier, but I think it's a fun demonstration to show just how easy it is to fix things when you're painting. You already got the paint out, right? To get up in here. In some of these ways, we're just adding another highlight by saturating this because it's so... This purple that I'm laying it over top of is so dark that it desaturates, so that the moment I paint this over top of itself, it comes in so much brighter. I think that's why earlier on I was explaining that I'm kind of cutting one of the colors out of the recipe, so to speak, that I had been working with. It just doesn't seem as necessary. Callum's on the lurk. Clanwolf says a bunch of stuff. Spartan assault tank, Storm Eagle gunship, Angry Ron, 6th Legion Outrider bikes, a Leviathan, Contemptor, a bunch of World Eaters heads, and an upgrade sprue of Alpha Legion headhunters. That's sick. Going hard on the order clan. We'll have to insure that thing. Alright. So we started getting a nice tonal shift here, and I think oh yeah, we're missing this inside piece here. Trying to make sure we don't skip any of these, so we're under review now. How did I miss this one? It's right on top. What's wrong with me? Again, we're just doing these sweeping gestures, pulling as best we can towards where the highlights are going to be. Very itchy nose today. Yeah. Get some paint in there too. Well, if you're going to have enough projects to last you through December. DJ Delete, good morning. Thank you so much for the subscription. We're having a Streamlabs issue today. OBS is not connecting to the service. And I don't know what's up with that. Just gonna check real quick and see if it'll let me sign in. It says, well, I'm gonna have to stagger out my purchases now. Oh. Yeah, I don't know what to say with the huh. Let's see if a test subscription comes through. All right. For some reason, the CloudBot was switched off. I haven't signed into Streamlabs it's been a while. So I don't know about that. DJ says, doing good. It's Friday. Soon it will be Saturday and then Sunday. And that's pretty good. We're working on Ray's commission a little bit. Yeah, this purple's super rough right now. But soon it will not be rough. Soon it'll be freaking awesome. Tomorrow, I think I'm fixing the crown molding in my kitchen. So that should be a nice fun day of activity. Might even involve a little paint. Oh, Justin got his logo updated. Benson Stryker, thank you so much. Did you guys see this? Just got his stuff updated. That's looking pretty legit. I dig the blade. That's pretty cool. How are you doing today, Benson? I was going to say, Benson's busy. He doesn't have time for us, Clamor. Just rolled in, kicked the host. He's on to other things. No. No. Also, apologize in advance. It's very chilly this morning, and I was like, I don't want to be cold. I'm going to put on this nice hoodie. And I forgot that I'm pale as a ghost. And when you put me in a dark shirt, the camera, it gets all racial on me and doesn't know how to pick me up anymore. Says, and yeah, he showed me it last night, had Austin help out, turned out pretty dope. Yeah, Austin, I don't know Austin personally, like I've never, obviously, I know Justin through conversation. I mean, we chat pretty regularly because we do the same stuff, and he's a good dude. But Austin seems really talented. Like, when he does stuff, it seems to be really, really nice. I think that comes through in all their product. All right, let's see where we're at here. It's way too pale. Way too pale. Hang on. We need more color. Benson's just crawling into bed. Man, I just crawled out. We're on an opposite schedule, Benson. Clem says, yeah, it should have been last night. You'd like Austin. He's way more chill than I thought. I don't know that I have an expectation on degree of chill. Borderline dad joke. Watch it. Oh, I'll be careful. Come on now. That was elaborate. I gotta fix the transition now because we got way too much paint. But I do like where this is going. These are the ones you want to be careful on. Anyway. Because they're on top. Again, this is a tabletop guy, so we're not, well, gal, but we're not worried about making everything as smooth as it could possibly be. We're worried about how can we make nice, smooth transitions that are done in a way that are going to grab attention. I'm gonna paint something this big for somebody. When people walk up to the table, I want this to be the thing they pick up. I'm not trying to have it blend into the background. Clam Wolf says makes a dad joke. I assume most people who are here are at least in their 30s. That was one of the funnier memes when the quarantine started. Was they were like, children better look out. The millennials are getting back online. Bat home. Why do all miniature artists stick their brush in their mouth? After you clean the brush, you can reshape it. So once you've washed all the paint off of it, right, and you swished it around, it might look like this. That makes sense? So you just and brings it back to a point. That's the minimum amount of explanation on that. Squeaking Hiccups rolls in and says, "Hey, Chris. Yeah, what's up? Good morning." It's funny, Bath, if I'm saying your name correctly, because sometimes we make a mistake and you put paint in your mouth, it does not taste good. You don't want that. We would have a reaction. When it happens, you're just like, It's non-toxic, but you still don't, it's not good. You know, it does not mean it's good. Where are we? I'm sure some people eat the paint, but I don't play that. I also do a technique called two-brush blending, where I use one brush with paint and another brush to push the paint around. Sometimes I'll be working a little too fast and catch some paint, but we try not to eat it. Anywhere in here that we Clan Wolf, you funny. Baphomet. Perfect, thank you. Clan Wolf knows how to say the thing. Squeaking Hiccup says it's a nice snack. Yeah, a little num-nums. Clan Wolf says pulls the bristles back to a point. That's correct. Weekface says also if you're blending, it's quicker to diffuse lines before the paint dries rather than wash the brush in the pot. That is correct. And this is going to be gross, but saliva and water have different effects on the paint. It's why when you're two-brush blending, you don't rinse your brush that you're going to rinse around in some water, because a moist brush will not do the same thing as your spit. I don't know. I don't know why it is that way. It just is. I'm not a saliva scientist. It's a nasty subject, I suppose, but There's a company that makes a compound that does in effect like it, but it's like, I don't know. Who's worried that much about it? Cleo says changes the service tension. It definitely does. Why it does it, I don't know. Sorry, we're out of focus here. I'm just trying to catch this little bit of talent up here. Some of these, a number of these actually, I have overpainted, so we're going to come back with that original tone. We're working with, I suppose at this point it would be considered our mid-tone. And let's reclaim a bit of that color, because we want that transition. I'm not going to move our model at all. I'm just going to catch them all on this side. And then, yeah, that's good. Now I'm going to grab our highlight again and catch some of these areas that we may have missed. Kind of my cleanup process, make sure. Which one was it? This one. This is the one we missed. Okay. Checking some dilution. This may or may not work. May need to be darker. I'm guessing darker. My educated guess. But let's see. Now there's no paint on the brush at all. What just happened to me? So silly. Alright. Practical Zaku. H-E-L. Is there a P? We have P coming? Oh, you went too fast. Hello! Well, good morning. How are you today? Alright, so now we're taking this glaze. We're going to try to smooth these transitions a bit. Just the way we did before, but now that we've got a bunch of them, we can kind of rapid fire through. It says Xenoforces have arrived apparently. H-E-L-O. Time to embrace the greater good, Clan Wolf. Just letting this glaze go in and do its job. Just to, in some way, smooth the transition between two colors. Because it's made out of the colors that they're both made of, but it's in between. You know, the drawback to glazing is that it's slow. The benefit to glazing is that it's slow. You just gotta know when to use it. So, like here. For example, we're just Again, sometimes I stipple, sometimes I make a brush stroke, and it really does depend on the size of space I have to work in. If it's large, we'll do a brush stroke. If it's smaller, we'll do a stipple. Wicked Jexter rolling in. Hello and good morning, sir. Practical says, well, yes, and what are you painting? We are working on Drycha from the Sylvaneth, the tree people in Age of Sigmar. We're doing these speedy little talons here. She already's got a very pretty left hand. I figured hook her up with the right. Excuse me. So right now it's coffee time. $6:30, sun's up. It poured last night. What a mess. I don't know. She's got this sword here. Should we do the sword in the same way as her talons? Like have all of her weapons be purple? In the carapace, there's a dryad that sits in here. If you're not familiar with the model. Don't worry about the blue tag. I just got her kind of, her head's definitely separated here. But she sits in there. And I'm trying to make her look different. So the talons are a very similar purple, and we're going like non-metallic with them, but for her body, I wanted to go with more of a luminous effect. The, smoother, very vibrant and saturated purple. There it is. Baphomet, thank you so much for that follow. Making that Corgi Wiggles a big part. Baphomet says, wow, WTF, what's up? What happened? Yeah, I like her a lot. Those connected like so. I need to wake up. It's been an early couple of mornings here. Oh, Clamwolf, I don't know if you were here earlier, but I got some, let me find it. Yeah, right there it is. I got the rough cut back from my video editor. Jack says, this is by far my favorite mini, so far it's mean looking. Yeah, she is mean looking. I don't have audio yet, but we've got some color corrected goodness. Don't mind how, that's how bright titanium white ink is. It'll throw your camera off. But yeah. Look at that. All the tech coming soon to Big Red. I'm a bit excited. Jex says, it's the favorite. I painted some fun stuff, Jex. You coming in with that. Alright. It's a pick. Ooh, I got the, let me grab it. Let me grab it. Let me make sure that it's actually in the box here. Well, maybe I took them out of the box. That's not good. Well, not good. It's just not ideal. I was going to show. I ordered the whole line of the the high rollers, the Reaper dice guys. I See out the window. Yeah, that's my backyard. Trees. That's how we do it. So I thought we're going to do a community paint-along next week. If anybody wants to pick up a Reaper model, we're going to start with the D4. And I think we'll make it a point to just kind of work our way higher in terms of facets. So we'll just go up the dice. Start with the D4, D6, D8, 10, 12, 20. Is that the way it goes? I think that's... We cover a little bit how to make his wand not so derpy. He says, yeah, I ordered them too. Excuse me, I'll check in over the weekend if we need to hold off a couple days for people to catch up. I don't think that'd be a big deal. I picked some greens I'm going to use. Obviously, you don't have to have the same greens. If anybody doesn't have the ones I'll be using, we can cover like what will give you a similar effect. It's Vigar. Vigar. League of Legends. Oh, that was going to bug me. He is. He's the tiny master of evil. No doubt. But I figured we start with the... Initially, I was going to do the one I thought was the coolest. like this guy, the D20. I think they were my two favorites. And then I thought about it, I'm like, let's start with a simpler shape object, and we'll just work our way through more complex objects. I've been wanting to work with green lately, so let's start with a green color, and then we'll work our way up. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Maybe we'll even play around a little bit with my my new pre-shading techniques. I don't know if I'm ready for that. I've been talking about them, but I don't know if they're ready yet for like public consumption. But yeah, so you can see we started to get these transitions looking nice since they've had some time to dry. Glaze this back a little bit. Let's check on our finger. It's very diluted. Either the brush is just super thirsty, one of the two. You never know. DJ says, should I prime assemble ahead of time? Yeah, you should. I would, yeah. Unless we want to do that together. What do you think, DJ? I'll let you pick. Do you want to have everything assembled together? We can just jump into on the ground running, or maybe I'll do mine on stream. Or what do you think? Do you want to get it assembled with me? Go through my process on it, or I think either way's fine. Wigface, did you order the mixer? I did. It won't ship. It's expected, like they gave me a week range on its delivery because things are still funky with some businesses. I ordered, so you see my camera is don't mind the mess behind me. My camera's over here now. I got this nice, look at how big that stand is. I ordered that stand, I had like a week. It didn't ship at all. It's one day shipping. Thursday afternoon, bam, that thing hits the mail. Came out of New Jersey. It was here with the swiftness. But like the processing, that's what's off. People are so far behind still. DJ says, I don't have an issue prepping it ahead of time, but up to you. Yeah, if you're good with that, I think that was my inclination was to say, hey, have it prepped and ready to rock. We'll hit the ground running. And I'll post the VODs on this up, so if anybody wants to go back and look at how something got done, we can do that too. See, this talent here we missed. We'll be going back. And all we're doing is taking this intermediate tone. We're kind of glazing over what we've done. Sorry for fail tracking the camera here. Yeah, like here you can see this transition between the highlight and the shadow. We're just going to start stippling along that edge. Tap my finger on to make sure it's blurred. Do it again. No more big bright line. No more stark contrast, you know. Here's another one. Right here at the end of this talon, we can see this triple threat we've got going here. And no more. And here at the base, this is probably the most egregious one in the whole model. Now it's pretty smooth. I don't know what is on my nose that's making it so itchy. Yeah, we're starting to get a nice transition there. And the value we run into with using a nice larger brush for some of this is I don't have to continually go back and get paint. So we can just keep working. You know, on stream, I don't have anywhere to go. So I'm not going to get disheartened about going through and doing more work. But when I'm left to my own devices, I might get to a point where I'm like, ugh, gotta get more paint. I'm more likely to look something up on the computer or get on Instagram or something useless. You know? So for me, when I'm painting, the biggest reason to use a bigger brush is because it keeps me painting. Just working a little bit darker now in terms of tone. These longer talons just have more room for activity, so we want to kind of show that a little bit of effort there, especially on the top ones. Like these few, anything that's facing upwards to where somebody would see it on the battlefield, we want to take that extra time and make sure it's been detailed to the nines, so to speak, because that's what people are looking at. And the next bit of detail is always going to be like continuing it, like taking that premise and like, so now we've picked it up and now we're looking at it like this. So our number one shot needs to be, are we eye-catching here? Do we look sexy here? And we don't want to be coyote ugly from the bottom, but the reality is who cares what it looks like down there? That area is for other artists. They can get down there and judge. Pull a Kathy Wapple and paint a smiley face down there. Baphomet says, what army is this piece a part of? This is the Sylvaneth. They're the tree folk from Age of Sigmar, Games Workshop. I do not know how to spell that off the top. glad we got the alerts sorted out. Still don't know why the chat's not connected. Got some real sweet music. We got the good beats. I've spent every little bit you guys put into the stream back into the stream, and one of the things I picked up was a nice a subscription to one of the music services that gives us nice beats to listen to without YouTube ads and everything else. I figured if you're gonna come in and hang out with me, this the least we could do is make it a little more, I don't know, up the production on that a little bit. Make sure you're not listening to YouTube ads or just some weak beats. Alright, so we get this nice highlighted effect here on the talons. And what I'm going to do is we're taking our highlight tone. I've mixed in a little bit of our highlight color here with some pallid witch flesh. And we're just trying to be gentle with the touch. We're going to edge highlight this, but more importantly, we're going to encapsulate the whole of the talon. We'll get into that here in a second. Let's come at it from this angle here. That's a lot of paint. Hang on. Nerd404, so I heard you were the official nomadic receptor. I am. It's my official term. That's me. This should be the final time I ever tick that box. If I was an emotional person, I might have actually had a little freak out when the name change occurred the first time. But it is what it is. It's done now. That was our last one on that particular genre. He's actually pretending, nerd. I'm an imposter. Let's do... Nerd says to Clan Wolf, he is sneaky, came to see me last night. It was hard to tell it was him. We got Frago Mini. Good morning, Frag. Hey, how are you? I got you. Hang on a second. Here it is. Here it is. Back at you. Hey. Alsacia says, it's going to suck when I need to rebrand. Oh. I figured Nobody uses the word nomadic. Oh, wait, what happened? Something happened. I just said something. Oh, 9 months. I've been at this 9 months. What a long, strange trip it's been. Fragome says, looking fresh, some kind of dryad? Absolutely, this is Drycha. Not just any dryad, she got a name. That's how you know she's fancy. Correct, Frago, Drycha. That's correct. Kind of wicked how fast that effect starts to come together when you edge out the highlights. And there's work to be done. We've got to tidy these up. This is kind of just a quick and dirty way to get things in shape, and then we'll come back through. You see more of my freaking beard than you can of the paint here. She's a little bit awkward to work on because she's like the size of a dreadnought, but she's super slender, and she's got a lot of wiggly giblets, right? Something I've been trying to get better with. I had to trim so much of this off. This thing was like here. My growth game was strong, and COVID happened. This is too much for my face mask. Truthfully, I should probably bring it tighter, probably to about here. Take another 1.5 inches off. But I think what I was gonna say is this. There's like an art form to making areas of a model look less appealing while still having them painted well, and I think that's important on a tabletop. Don't do it. Yeah, the emotes won't make sense. Why not do it? See, this one got a little paint on it too. But why not get rid of the beard? I need a different color. I need a better color. This particular talent here didn't get any real highlights, so I'm gonna come through and fix where I messed up. Shave it all off. No. Never. Never. Nerd says, I don't think there's a chin behind it. I think Chris's face just goes in a straight line from his bottom to his chest. So I have shaved in recent years. It has happened. And if you're interested, I'll show you a picture. Because so few people have ever seen my face. No, my mother always likes to see my face, and because my wife freaking, to some degree, hates when I shave. That's not gonna work. Let's just go back in time. Picker didn't happen. Oh, it'll happen. So I have two pictures of when I shaved. Number one, this is when I was still. This is 2016, July 2nd. My wife was so mad I gave her no warning. She was so frustrated at the fact that I had shaved without permission entirely. And she goes, I don't want to look at your face. So yeah, that's one of them. And then in more recent days, we'll find it. Oh, if any of you are into jiu-jitsu, August 5th, 2017, I met a guy. If anybody knows who that is, might be one of the best to ever do it. White belt Chris, that's me. That's white belt, nomadic. Met a guy one time. Nobody look! Yes, everybody look. If you know who that is, I was very excited to meet him. If you're also interested in jiu-jitsu, black belts and such, that's my professor. Doing black belt stuff. Let's find the other day I shaved. Because I had grown the beard pretty good. I took a before and after. Yeah, here's my before. I just got done mowing the grass. Quite a bit of good. Look at that. Look at that, combed out. May 20th, 2018. The last time my face was in the open. Paul Harris, that's a name. Marcelo? Yes, DJ, that is Marcelo Garcia. It was his first time doing a seminar after his injuries, so 2018. But yeah, there's my face. And if this mask situation has to continue for very long, I'll probably, this will be me again. Probably with less haircut because nobody can cut hair right now. Yeah, I train at Marcelo Garcia Academy in Pittsburgh. Shout out to Rodrigo. Can't wait to get back at it. I've been starting to feel a little antsy because I haven't had a trained assassin make an attempt on my life lately. Like, I need that. Where are we? Jex says, now I can't unsee it. Why would you do that? Relax, Jex. Why so bothered? DJ says, buy one of the Origin masks they make from the rash guard material. I have one of those. I have that kind, and I also got their newer covering. I got the olive drab and the black. Because I gotta work in the office every day, and I can't be without them. So I got the black, it's like a canvas material, and the olive canvas material, and then I got white and black of the pullover rashies. Nerd says, okay, so I took a screenshots of both of those new give me some money. I will leak them to the internet. Leak away. They're profile pictures at one point. That's like when like an athlete hooks up with a lady and they try to blackmail him and they end up being single. They're like, yep, got me. Claim with, but you without beard is just wrong. It doesn't add up. All right. DJ says, yep. Yeah, I wonder how long the academies will remain closed. I don't know, man. It's going to be a while. It's going to be a while. There's going to be some back alley jiu-jitsu going on. They're going to be in an alley just fighting, trying to do something. Chick says, I was pretty sure you grew around the beard, kind of like a chicken egg thing. That's right. Came out with sideburns. Don't worry about it. No, I really didn't. This, it took me... I was like 22 before I started being able to get a full, like, thick beard. And my lip has never been super strong. I've never been like a mustache kind of person. The biggest issue I had was, like, I got burned when I was younger a little bit. Like, I don't have a scar or anything. I was fortunate in that respect. But, like, there's a couple spots where, like, hair would not come in for a few years. But then it, came through. It was good. Not like disfigurement, but I look normal, but like with two little patches for no reason. Well, for a reason. He says, yep, I have those styles too. That's pretty sweet, DJ. Nerd says, oh man, my hopes of blackmail. Yeah, see, Nerd was trying to offset the cost of that Vortex mixer. It didn't work out. DJ says, yeah, I got a couple friends with mats in the garage. It's gonna happen. Clem says, quarantine's been lifted here. Ugh. Yeah, we're gonna see what happens in the next month, man. It's gonna get weird here in a couple. Nerd. This is what's gonna happen the moment that Vortex mixer gets here. These. I might be mixing this varnish. I don't know. What else? Oh yeah. All of these. We know about this. Just a couple quick shakes, right? Good to go. Be good to go. Yeah, we're gonna revitalize all this stuff. For those of you that weren't here yesterday, I was haranguing Nerd and Motor City Ray for having purchased Vortex mixers. And they were like, yeah, they're really good. I was like, yeah, I get it. They're really good. They're the best. They're also a lot of money. And then our donation goal got a big old bump from Ray. And so, yeah, we're going to be Vortex buddies. So that should be fun. It says, oh, boo-hoo, you mad beard troubles. Someone told me last night to put my isolation beard into my work-in-progress gallery to ask for help on making it better. Yeah, have more testosterone, grow a better beard. I don't know. There's no secrets to it. It just happens or it doesn't. I think that, there's nothing you're going to take that's going to make it grow. They talk about things that's going to help. Look, if it worked, people would know about it. Get some mixing beads in them as well. You know I use mixing beads. You know this. You tell me to do things that you know I probably educated you on, nerd. Get out of here. What are these? And none of those little baby beads that you use. Better beads. Beads that have strength. You'll never shake the paint again. Honestly, I'm finding a lot of paints stay far better mixed as well. Yeah, they separate far less quickly. That's good. Cleo says, well, I'm good with having permanent 5 o'clock shadow. I think, honestly, like, being able to do that, this is like maintenance. And the reason for the beard is probably because I'm just lazy in some ways. Here's a good example of something we were talking about. So we're talking about tabletop stuff versus display stuff. So you look at Sorcerer's Red Armor and how smooth it is and how nice it is. Here's some tabletop red armor. And it also looks pretty good. Balsacia says beads have balls. Now when you put them side by side, there's a big old difference. Ray says, oh yeah, it's Friday, yeah. Morning, Ray. Today has been a Badger-esque stream filled with mostly just chatting. But we did get the majority of the work done on the left hand. Oh yeah. That's right. Good morning, Ray. Love the name change. Yeah, you know, I figured let's fix that mistake. Get into what's good. I've drank all the coffee. It's been a long week. I'm gonna go fill this coffee up. We're gonna make this happen. I'll be right back. Jack, start the timer. Right. Ray's loving a name change. Clem says she's gotta have a big base. That's a big room. What's that? Who's gonna have a big base? Dryja? I built this room. Yeah, she has she's got this sick oval base. She's like a dreadnought. Rare large oval base. Yeah, just reserved for her and the Tau. Something I wanted to do today. Been working on Dryja's hand so long today. I was like, oh, maybe I'll switch it up. But then Ray showed up, and I feel like that's rude. We're going to fix these couple of little claws that we made mistakes on. Well, not mistakes. I missed the highlights on. Clem says, yep, instead of just giving her a large round base, Cowl also sits on it. Ray says her base is just adequate for her ferocity. Yeah, she's not that big in the scheme of things. She's not as beefy as things in her scale. But if you put her on a smaller base, she'd be like... it wouldn't do her the respect that she's in dire need of. Not need. That she deserves so much. She's such a slick model. And from what Ray has told me, she's a absolute monster to deal with on the tabletop, which is so cool. These are going to be rough highlights for right now, but we will get them quite a bit better. I'm going to stretch this one out. I think this will be a big highlighted area. And this one, this was the other one we missed. Nobody warned me. I blame myself. Clem says, just give each foot a Terminator base. Just a I think it would be pretty sweet to like have her like shredding some mechanical beast. You do not want to catch the business end of one of these. I'll tell you that. Look at it. Look at that. Like, you know how a cat does this under a door? Like they'll put their little paw. Like, hey, this isn't a trap. I'm not gonna murder your hand. That's what her hands remind me of. Like a cat. Yeah, they're so sweet. Spigot rolling in says sweet Sylvaneth models with those sweet, sweet talons. We're just doing that painstaking work with the non-metallic effect. It's so critical to generate an illusion. How are you today, Spigot? For a Terminator base on each foot. 2 dead Terminators. I should wear them as shoes. I'd like to think that's how that would go down. Right, we're looking good from this side. For the most part. Yeah, I'm gonna work the highlights on this a little bit better. There will be no shortcuts. We're gonna highlight as much on the bottom, but we'll still get some nice transitions. I really love the richness of these purples that I picked. I think they mimic in some way that vibe that we were going for. Clem says I meant the 40 mil base for each foot. Oh my! Clem with the big ones. Be crazy, you're crazy. Balsatius says at pneumatic. Do you slap your brush on the side of your rinse cup like Bob Ross? We slap the devil out of it. No, clean the devil out of it, right? Occasionally. So my paint cup is a bit different than most people have. You're not gonna be able to see the bottom of it because it's full of purple paint right now. But do a little punch out here. So here is my paint cup. Is well loved, and the bottom of this is like a staircase of like little things, so I can put my paintbrush in it. I don't know if this is going to turn into an ASMR stream or not, but you should be able to. Yeah, so that's how we clean the devil out of it. Spigot says, I hope to make a Sylvaneth army at some point. I kind of want to do a birch theme. So that's that white, gray, ashen kind of bark. That'd be pretty cool. I think. Is that what birch looks like? Nerd404 says, the link. Oh, link me please. I also... What was that case you were looking at on Amazon? It takes 2 painting trays. Oh, yeah. I'll link that up, nerd. That I'm actually not certain of. My wife bought this for me as a gift. She's like, my birthday or some such. I do clean this thing. I clean the bottom out of it every time I rinse it, but I let the patina kind of grow. I pretend like Instagram's what I use to track my art journey. It's actually this. Spigot says, but for the moment, I need to get my 2000 SCE so I can start playing Age of Sigmar. Stormcast Eternals? I'm not as familiar with the game as I am with painting the models. So I can start playing Age of Sigmar so I can take my time with my Sylvaneth. So if that is a Stormcast army, you're trying to get up and running so that you can then take your time in collecting. Since we have some new faces in here, I'm going to ask an opinion on some green. Brush for Hire, good morning. How are you today, sir? Brush, you'd be a good ask for this. As a, I ordered it, Ray. It's on a couple weeks. It's saying it'll ship out the last week of the month. It'll be here between the 1st and the 11th. Amazon, am I right? Something like that. I'll double check. I'm sure it'll come sooner. I've ordered multiple things that said they were going to take forever, and then they just ship. So, Brush, and anybody in here that would like to add in that hasn't already or perhaps has a difference of opinion. A while ago, we did an experiment with magenta under yellow, and it was not a unique idea, but it had just been done by behind a paywall. And so I looked at how they did it, and then, go figure, a bunch of YouTube personalities start showing that, hey, I've had this unique idea, let's talk about it. It's not unique, it's not new. But, they, for the record, did not reference the people that taught them how to do it. Very rude. But I had this idea, like, could that principle be applied to other colors? And we talked at length about this the other day. But here I've applied a marine teal, and highlighted it up to like a white, and then I took emerald ink, glazed it back with my airbrush thinner and a little bit of varnish so it has some strength, and I applied it over that marine teal, and we got this fun little fade. And I think I blew out my midtones. I don't think I realized I blew out my midtones, but if I glazed back the ink to a little less opacity, a little less strength, I'm wondering, do we like this blue to green fade? Is that something that is worth pursuing? Is there, in some ways, a recipe you could develop to a color you could undercoat to develop the highlight in a way that just makes the sense? Is that a quick and dirty way to get your base coat? And for a tabletop, that's pretty darn good. I'd be happy if I was playing a bunch of green cloaked men and their jackets look like that. Spigot says, yeah, if it not consider it Eternal, Amazon could take 1 day or up to a month to ship anything. Right? That is correct. Yeah, with the state of the world. But Ray hooked me up with a donation yesterday, and I wanted to get it at least in processing. Balsation says it certainly looks cool. Yeah, I think it is cool. And I have a feeling, like a strong feeling that you can apply like a little bit of a recipe. Brush says, yeah, man, color shifting fabrics, magical effects, monster flesh, doing cool stuff. Love weird color transitions. I like the fact that I took my airbrush and I put a very, it's the Reaper Marine Teal. I wasn't sure if this had green in it, so I put it down and I mixed it with the coolest yellow I could find. Right? And it didn't make mud. It made a green. Actually, I think I still have it on my palette. It made, well, it's not important. It's very dry. But yeah, these colors have a same pigment bias, and so they meet and make a green. Weird, right? Sometimes you don't know that till you get into it. So I found that out, and I took this and I mixed it with a yellow off-white. In this case, I used Menoth White base, because that's what I rock. And so I took this and airbrushed Marine Teal, and then highlight with the Menoth, more and more Menoth White base. And then I took my Emerald I used 4 drops of this with my dilution. I would probably use 1, maybe 2 going forward. I think that would prevent me from blowing out the transitions as much, because I had to glaze them back in, and they're still weak. But I think there's something to that line of thinking. I feel like, just like magenta is a neutral color, but towards the red side of yellow, that the yellow works. And so we're working towards blue, right? So we're talking about green. What if we go towards blue but stay on the green side of the blue? Stick that way. Legend says, what would happen if you glazed a very light yellow back over the highlights and midtones? Well, there's not a whole lot of yellow in this. We're using an emerald, and yeah, I get it. There's definitely some yellow in this, but it's a pure pigment. So when you extend it over white, you'll get a color. When you extend it over blue, it's the intensity that makes this happen. It's not like it's a paint. It's a combination of things. You know? It's a weird thing, these inks. When you extend them, it's not like it's going to go all yellow on you. But when you put it over different colors, different things happen. I just don't know. I think that there's not necessarily like a speed painting thing, but I feel like there's definitely something that can be done by applying the same underpainting principles as a zenithal. Like you paint with the zenith as your highlight. Like you choose, like on Big Red here, we've selected where we want you to look. And if you're painting something in armor, like a space marine, you choose like your highlights on each area. But why black into white? Well, black conceals detail and white allows it to show. Ledger says, I use yellow over green to make a really bright green highlight. Might make yours too busy, though. Well, you can absolutely highlight it for sure. But this is like an exercise in how to get an interesting midtone without any work at all, really. So, for Bias rolls in says, hey brother, how are things? Just got hooked up for my session now able to watch the stream. Well, hopefully you're as comfortable as you can be for Bias, and good morning. We probably have another 10 to 16 minutes to chill. But, you know, this is a dynamic piece here. He's got skin, he's got leather, he's got fabric, he's got a gun, he's got a rock hand. We're talking about a lot of elements here. However, if we narrowed it down, what if we were to, instead of doing the whole model, what if we were to say, like, we're painting a Space Marine where he is primarily the same material? You could potentially get a very dynamic undercoat that would speed up the process greatly. And that's what I'm looking at here. Ray says, got a technical question? Ray, ask it away. Spigot, thank you so much for that follow. Good morning. They say, I have not even started thinking about using inks yet, only been painting for about 4 months. Inks are really good. I recommend you get Liquitex or De La Rowney from your local art shop. They last you a very long time, and they're quite good. I have gravitated towards primarily the Liquitex. They're not much more money. They're about the same cost. They're the same volume, but this footprint will match more closely to your paint pots. I use nail polish racks for my storage, and they'll fit where the De La Rowneys won't. That's the only reason. Typically just buy when they're on sale. Rest Fryer says Liquitex for the win. Liquitex. Yeah, they make good stuff. And they're pure pigment with no filling, so unlike when you purchase Vallejo ink or Scale Series paint or whatever. Oh, catch you later, brush. You don't have the intensity is much stronger. So very commonly when I'll use a drop of the, let's say for example, I'm going to paint with that emerald. I put a couple drops in the Beard for the Win. Buys for real. Thank you, brush. Motor City Ray says, can you explain latex versus acrylics and there being a difference in their application. I'm not familiar enough with the latex paints. I do know that acrylics are non-toxic and they're ground pigment. So we take an ink, for example. There's pigment in here. So they've ground something that makes probably something synthetic, something man-made, to make this emerald color. When you break down, this is gonna get saucy here before the end of the stream. So that's what acrylics are. They're ground pigment with a medium and then something to extend it to make what you have here. This is just the medium in this is just a liquid and then a pure pigment inside of it. So it's super, super strong. Nerd says, to Ray, with latex being a rubber-based paint, I think it would be harder to blend and work through if I remember. Yeah, and then the opposite of that is like your oil-based paint that is the best with blending. And acrylic is somewhere here in the middle. Motor City Races represents a line of latex paints that I haven't used latex before. I'm wondering if it's worth picking up. I don't know that you can like be a brush licker and use it, but I'm not certain. Truthfully, Ray, I'm gonna have to look into the latex a little bit before I give you a complete answer on that. But I will give you a good breakdown on the acrylics, and then we can build off of that once I look into the latex stuff. But so yeah, you have this which is pure pigment, and then you have paint in a pot that is extended with some kind of medium, whether it be a gel or a traditional like matte style medium or satin. Like you can buy them at a hobby shop. They're rather dense, and it just stretches your pigment out. And so you'll see differences between these when you extend them with water. So, for example, let's just say you want to make a wash or a glaze. There's a reason why the Citadel washes react very differently than if you were to water back any paint out of a pot. It's because of the medium they're putting it through. And so, for example, if you wanted to make a wash and you mixed up some medium, which would probably be very similar to what you and I use for our airbrush, Ray, and then with a little bit of perhaps varnish to give it either a satin or matte finish, you could probably make this whole jug of wash if you had the medium that they've synthesized with 2 or 3 or 6 drops, depending on how big the bottle is. I would say fewer than 6 drops of actual ink would make this whole container, provided you had the same medium to supply it. And you can see that when you put the paints down and you apply water to them, like if you were to draw lines on a piece of paper and like extend the paint across them, you'll see how intense they are. You would need 3 times the paper to take like a brush load of this that you would from extending this paint as far as it would go. And to further that, if you buy like the heavy-bodied acrylics that come in a tube, they don't extend very well at all. Whatever that medium is, it just tears very quickly. And because these don't have any filler, they go forever. It's why I can put, like when I was glazing Sorcerous Red Armor, I was putting 1 drop of red ink down to 15 or more drops of water, and then glazing to get that effect. The pigment's just so strong. But yeah, I don't know whatever the medium is that they're using for the latex paint. I imagine it's going to be a lot more rubbery. And then in which way you would get a smooth finish out of the gate, but I don't believe you would be able to blend. Spigot says, looking at a fume-rated mask on Amazon, not expecting it to arrive until July 7th to 28th. Would love to look into an airbrush, but safety first. Yeah, I airbrush without a respirator regularly, but I also, spraying some paint on one model isn't a concern, so much as if you're going to prime up an army and you're going to be airbrushing for hours, or if you're in a confined space, just changes the mentality. And yes, always with the safety first. I have a like a dust mask that I would pull on and just to cover up a little. Nerd says, and much harder to layer with other paints. Also, with it being less porous than acrylic, it's not going to be easy to build your layers and have to bind. Yeah, I think it depends. Whatever they're mixing, Reaper makes great paint, so I don't know that it works the same on like a wet palette. I wonder if their latex line is designed for. I mean, I know this is a hobby, but maybe it's just designed for your introductory painter that maybe doesn't want to mess around with a wet palette and all these brush needs, because you could get a smooth surface with a rather inexpensive brush with latex, I would imagine. It's what we use on our walls, because it grips very, very well, and because it has that rubbery finish, it'll clean easily. It's a good question, Ray. I'm curious now. We'll do some research on it. Also, I was showing Nerd just the first things I'm going to shake when it comes. And my camera has a sweet slow motion option on it. So when it comes, I'm gonna do a nice slow-mo of the paint mixing. We'll see how that goes. Spigot says, I have a chronic cough, so I'm already having respiratory issues. I don't need to add paint to them. Not at all. Yeah, you don't want to do that to your lungs. I know I've done dumb stuff with my airbrush. I sprayed so much primer. I probably primed 6,000 points of Space Marines one night, and even through my dust mask, I had particles up in there. I was blowing like black primer boogies for a little while. It was no good. I do not recommend it. You know, like I said, if I'm sitting here and I'm working on stream and I'm just like, for example, if we're gonna do a bunch of these dryches, I would put down her claws where they were, and instead of manually glazing each transition to get them to look this slick, I would probably take the airbrush and do each talon with the airbrush and try to get that nice smooth fade with the glaze. Smooth those transitions. Kylian, K-C-A-I-L-E-A-N Zenidar. Kaylin Zenidar? Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. Thank you so much for that follow. Welcome on in. We're doing hobby chat today. But we are getting ready to wrap up here. We got to get our raid out. Let's see who else online. But yeah, if you've got any kind of anything going on with that, you don't want to play those games. Who is online? Yeah, Rush for Hire just got off. No Daniel, huh? What's Daniel doing today? It's Friday. Ray, is he sleeping? Probably working on his website. Kaylin says, hello there. Came across the stream 5 minutes ago. Instant follow. Well, instant gratitude. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're working on this commission for Motor City Ray. Very rough just yet. The talons are probably, at least this hand is where they're going to be. They may adjust subtly, but I'm digging this speed metal look. I've got to fix this rear talon here. The inside needs completed, but the rest of that hand's done. We're getting this one well underway. And then we're going to start working on the bark. Ray says, I have no idea. He was in my stream last night late, so maybe still sleeping. Yeah, for him, you know, if he's up... I saw when you were getting on, I was doing some chores around the house. You know, as an evening for us. For him, he had to be up late. He's been trying to make the business work, and I get it with his situation. I'm so happy he's got something rolling, and he seems to be loving it. So that's... If anybody in here is not familiar, we're talking about Damn It Daniel here on Twitch. He has a website. Let me pull that up real quick. If anybody's looking, UK based. Oh yeah, we typed it correctly. Daniel is a streamer here on Twitch, and he is working on He's got his website up. He's doing a lot of pre-ordering for 3D prints. If you're looking to make a purchase on a sweet model, he's working with Ritual Castings on just fantastic sculpts. You're looking to support somebody that really cares about their work, look no further than this man right here. You'll be doing him a great service, and you get some for your money, which is also nice, right? Yeah, and Ray's got us on it too. All right, everybody, let's see who we can pass this party off to. Forby says, yeah, I have stuff coming from him. Not to be a pain in his rear end, but I sort of requested a few just heads. I want to practice female faces a little bit better, and so I requested from some of his models that have a little more nondescript faces where I can paint in some things. Ray says, secretly, Chris, I sent him a few things to paint up, so we'll get him painting ASAP. There you go. That's awesome, Ray. Yeah, get him back to work. No, he's doing work. I'm busting balls a little bit, but he's a good dude. And I'm glad he's got something going that he finds fulfilling and is relevant to his interests. And sadly, we can't raid him today because he's sleeping, but let's go get this raid out to Brush for Hire. I haven't got to raid him in a little while. He's another incredible artist. Forbias got some orders in. Ray got some commissions sent out to the man. Yeah, we've had so many wonderful follows today. We had Kalen, hopefully I'm saying that correctly. We got Ledgermate, Spigot, Baphomet. We had Jay Myers. It's been a very good morning. A lot of friendly faces, a lot of good content. Good conversation for sure. Forbias says, I also have an order coming from Georgia. George T. Sorry. The T skipped the line. I want to order some stuff from George Sugazita so bad, but I got enough work on the table right now. I posted up in the Discord. There's a Roman von Bruggen. I don't know how to say his name, but he's an incredible sculptor. He's got these little demon librarians. They're reading little books. I want to paint them real bad. Yeah, let's get this out to Brush. I'm gonna get out to work, and you all have a wonderful day. I suppose we got about 6 seconds, so.